All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Grinder Spencer, aka Grinder the Strong Dad Coach, here with my lovely wife and co-host, Jazza Love. And this is a very, very special interview for us. We get the chance to interview 4 lovely people from the New Bern Juneteenth Committee.
Woo!
So, yes, that we have the privilege of joining this year for the celebration as vendors and also helping them out with some other events. So without further ado, would you guys please introduce yourselves? I guess we can go one at a time, however you guys want to do it. Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, well, I will go. My name is Talina Massey, and I'm one of the co-founders here at the Juneteenth of New Bern. Excuse me.
All right.
Name is Jesse Mars, one of the co-founders. Pan-Africanist at heart. That's it.
All right. Thank you, guys.
My name is Jameesha Harris, and I'm one of the co-founders of Juneteenth of New Bern as well.
My name is Sharon Bryant. I am a New Bern native, and yes, I am one of the co-founders as well, freshly retired.
All right. Another New Bern native. I'm a New Bern native too. Yeah. That's what's up. We in the house. We in the house.
All right.
That's what's up. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And yeah, we're gonna make this nice, short, and sweet. Get this out to the people. So you guys introduced yourselves. So tell us why. Where with that one first? Tell us why Juneteenth is so important to you.
I would love to start with our historian because I'm sure she can hit some points.
Yes, historian.
The reason Juneteenth is important to me, as I reflect back on our ancestors, the things that they went through, slavery. So therefore, when it comes to the point of us today celebrating freedom, it means a lot because they could not do it then, but we are able now to vote, to make things happen. And it is up to us to be free and honor them. So that's why it means so much to me.
All right, now.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in there and just just kind of add that Juneteenth is definitely important from a community perspective and inclusivity. That to me, learning the deep-rooted history of Juneteenth, knowing of Juneteenth, July 4th is not a freedom day for me because my people were not free. So to me, true freedom was on Juneteenth, 1865. And that's what's important, is that's when everybody was free. And that's what unity means. That's what community means. And I think it's important to hone in on that ideology because we get lost in the history of our overall, being American. But if we're overall Americans, Black people are Americans, that you can't truly say you were free or we were a free country until everybody's free, right? So the things that we say is all of us or none of us. Well, that's kind of the thought process. And then it is basically just a time for us to come together and just celebrate just each other as a community. And we do it in a way of barbecues, festivals, Miss Sharon, when we have the lecture series, we do it in a way that we educate, but we also celebrate in all aspects. Older, our age, millennials, and youth, we do something that can teach all ages about Juneteenth. And so that's why ultimately it's important. It's our history. It's a shared history. And we just have to be unapologetic about telling it.
I would say Juneteenth is important to me because given the opportunity to be able to remove the stigma of everything that's Black is demonized. Growing up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and then moving to New Bern, North Carolina, the concept of Juneteenth is fairly new to me. It isn't something that was taught per se, even coming from New Orleans, that's majority Black. So what we've experienced dealing with Juneteenth over the past couple of years is that many don't know, including myself. I didn't know much about Juneteenth, so it's solidified in me to say that there's a stigma that's placed that anytime we try to celebrate us, it's demonized. Anytime we try to bring our contributions and how we feel to the forefront, it's demonized. So to give the opportunity to remove that demonized stigma, that's why it's important to me. It is our history. When you think about individuals that have paid the price for us and paved the way for us to get to this place, it should be empowering that we want to continue the momentum of us as Black people. So that's why it's important to me.
Well put, brother.
Man, how do you follow that? Jesus.
Right.
Well, I know. For me, Juneteenth, and I have explained this in other situations, but for me, Juneteenth is almost like that home cooked meal you get from your grandmother or your mother. It's like a hug. It's like an umbrella under which all of the things that we value can fall under. When we talk about education, we talk about family, we talk about business, community, physical and mental health. All of that involves and engulfs our life is something that can be celebrated and propelled under Juneteenth, under the umbrella of Juneteenth. And to see everybody throughout the week, everybody can't make everything, but just to see people, connect with people that you haven't seen in a while, see your neighbors, meet in other businesses and find out other things that are going on in different silos around your area. That's what Juneteenth is supposed to be. It's supposed to be our homecoming. These people, our brothers and sisters were freed, and they were able to go where they wanted to go and create that home and that atmosphere and that energy wherever they wanted to go. So for me, that is what it's supposed to feel like. It's supposed to be home. So that's why Juneteenth is important to me, because it's like that good, them grits that your grandmother cooked. It just feels warm when it come around. And I don't just mean because it's hot. I mean that it feels right. And we supposed to do it.
Sugar with grits.
So yeah.
Thank you. Lord.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I come back to that.
Right.
That's amazing. Because I feel the same way with Juneteenth, and we talked before that this is our first celebration as a community in New Bern. We did things online with other people, especially during COVID, when people couldn't get outside. So this will be our first event where we get to celebrate with others, that he grew up with, because I'm not from here, I'm from up north, but with others that he grew up with. And it's amazing because for me, I learned about Juneteenth as like a historical fact in high school. So to know that we can celebrate it unapologetically, that wasn't really taught to us. It was just like, oh, this is a fact. You learned it, you take it and you tell someone else. But for us to be able to just celebrate and be with one another and to learn from each other, that's amazing. That you all brought that to New Bern. And, so I just want to commend you all for all the hard work and wonderful things that you're doing in the community.
Yes, thank you guys so much. So everybody has an origin story, right? Everyone has an origin story. And we see 4 people from different corners of the world, right? So we're not the world, but different places. So we want your origin story. What prompted you 4 guys, to get together and form your organization?
Well, first we started out as a lecture series here about 6 years ago, just to educate everyone in the community and surrounding areas about what Juneteenth really means. And then about 3-4 years ago, Talina and I sat and talked about maybe bringing a big festival. And that's when Jameesha and Jesse got involved to make it big. And then we started partnering with other people to have this where it's supposed to be in one day, and then it started out 3-4 days, and now here we are with 13 days. Different community, other people got things going on to join with us. So now we're at 13 days celebration, what is really good for the community.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Anybody else want to input?
Started as a mustard seed.
Right.
I'll say that everybody that is at the table plays a very important role in the success of the foundation of Juneteenth of New Bern. And we're just going to continue to grow. Me personally, I'm origin story is I'm originally from New York and just always wanted to be engulfed in things that were bigger than me. Very familiar with Juneteenth because in New York, we tear it up. Yeah, I'm from Albany, but I know in the city they get busy for Juneteenth. And that's where I knew of it. And then, to be able to come here and, link with these amazing people to be able to like bring to fruition what I would see in New York. And I have to understand sometimes too, it's baby steps. But I'm also a person that lacks patience just because of the history of things that I've been through. So it's hard for me too with baby steps. Like, you got to get it. You come to this event, you got to know what's going on. This is important. But realizing the location that you're at and the things and the ideas that you try to bring, you need the 4 different viewpoints or the committee because, each person is going to bring a different thought process to that one problem and have, solutions. But yeah, starting that one day and now 13 is amazing. And, I'm very proud of our success because it takes a village. You see us for our 4 faces, but there's, hundreds of other people that are here that put in the work to, make the festival alone go off without a hitch. Now, I'm the emotional one on the team because like last minute in the morning, the day I'm driving to be on time to an event, I'm bugging. Like, what's going on? We missing batteries. We doing something. But, it keeps the juices flowing.
And somebody got to be, somebody got to be steady.
Yeah,
I guess that's
Right.
Yeah, that's the matriarch of this whole thing.
Yeah. Right. 7:01, you're done. So, everybody has their moving part. We know where we are best seated. And that's that's just kind of how it is. And that's the origin story I have for you.
All right. Lovely origin story.
I think my origin story is I was brought in. I think I think
snatched up the muscle.
Sergeant at arms.
But I think I think I was brought in because I think they see my passion towards Black people. That Pan-Africanist in me, the love for my people. I think they saw that, and I'm glad that they wanted me to be a part of it. And so that's just it. Just to think back on my history. My grandfather, he was 16 in 1940. The 1940 census in Louisiana didn't consider him to be an American citizen.
Better preach on it.
And so you say 1940, he wasn't considered an American citizen in rural Louisiana. So, and to know those struggles that my grandfather endured. He had a 3rd grade education, and he raised a family that ended up becoming that I ended up coming out of that family, and to see the love that I have towards melanated people. That's the origin story for me. Is just I just love my people, and so I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to learn about Juneteenth because it is such a new concept for me, and how we can continue to grow bigger and better every year.
We want to spend the day for Kwanzaa.
We do got to meet up for Kwanzaa.
Oh yeah,
that's something I do know about. Didn't know about prior. I was able to celebrate, but Juneteenth was just new to us as a celebration. Like, I knew it as a fact, but as a celebration, it was just something totally new, and I'm excited to be able to celebrate with you all. So our next question would pretty much be, with Juneteenth, what do you think as far as the celebration that people can help to improve? The things that you all have going on. How can they improve their participation? How can they improve making this like a worldwide, global thing that everyone knows about? So what things do you think that we should do, especially those that are just learning what Juneteenth is,
Right.
to do to enhance its effect across?
What?
Oh, we was trying to decide. Yeah, that's a hot button. So for me and how I am, I'm gonna just let y'all know on out there in the world, I'm very blunt and to the point. So there's the aspect of we want you to receive the education that we're trying to give you about your history, right? So don't take it lightly. And then I also am of the thought process too, that we can't sit here and do all of this work to celebrate Juneteenth and then still wake up on July 4th and have a cookout and celebrate and say happy July 4th to people. We're working backwards. So once you are educated on the true understanding of Juneteenth, then you will no longer make that as a day where, it's rest. You can still rest, but you're not recognizing because it doesn't add up. We weren't free.
Right.
And,
Right.
just to touch on what Jesse said, your grandfather, my daddy, was born in 1944, not his grandfather, but I'm saying in the aspect of his grandfather, and then my dad, right? My dad's old. In 1944, he wasn't, 20 years of his life, he wasn't considered free, right? And so even this year on July 2nd will mark 60 years that the Civil Rights Act has passed. Now, it's not really anything you want to celebrate. And even Juneteenth. And I think because of how we are as a people, we turn lemons into lemonade. Okay. So, yeah, we was free and that's what it is. Well, we're going to turn up on this freedom, but we have to just continue to turn up and stand true to our values that 4th of July, we were not free, so, and it takes a lot for people to get, acclimated to new things, but that's why even in our celebration, we incorporate fireworks. So if they relate 4th of July to fireworks, we got you covered. You understand? Vendors, cookout, we got you covered. We just want them to understand the true history of Juneteenth. And like I said, don't take it lightly because ancestors, whether they know who their ancestors or not, whether they went on that journey to start discovering the deep roots of who they are, they did make sacrifices. And for us to have the privilege to be here and not continuously every year, recognize that, then we're doing a disservice as what they would say as being their wildest dream. We're not doing the job that they set us up for. So I just think it's important that if you don't know, it's okay. And one thing I learned just recently is that I do know everything because I know enough to ask the question when I don't know the answer. So if you're not familiar with the history, Google goes a long way, but it's also good to have peer-to-peer conversation because something you don't know, another person may know, or you know what I mean, and vice versa, or what they say, iron sharpens iron. So I think that's the takeaway that I would like to see for our people is that we're not just doing this to have a festival. We're not out here asking people for money, just because we want to have fireworks. We want to be able to do it in a way that is going to be enjoyment, but we need you to know your history. You were not free on 4th of July. You were free as a collective June 19th, 1865, which is well after the Declaration of Independence. So that's where I'm at, respectfully.
Just to piggyback too, off of that, that's an amazing point that you made, especially when you talk about the education part. We want to make sure as well that we're sowing good seed on fertile ground. And the way to make that ground fertile is to educate folks on why it is important. Now, we also need folks who are also open to wanting that education, also open to the idea of learning new things. We were sadly greeted with a sad fact last year that while we tried to do certain things within our festival to appeal to different aspects of the community, folks didn't come or participate in certain parts of it because they felt like it's a Black thing.
Right.
And that's, we can't change that, because at the end of the day, it's a Black American thing.
Right.
It's a Black American important thing. But again, it's an American important holiday. If it wasn't, it wouldn't become a federal holiday.
Right.
We don't hear people complain about taking off for Martin Luther King's birthday when they get that day off or whatever. But, when we try to do things to help educate folks around Juneteenth, we have a lot of folks, depending on, again, where you live, that may not be receptive. But again, we're going to keep at this. We're going to keep doing it because the education not going to change.
Right.
It just really happened. So we keep beating people over the head with this history. Eventually, eventually that knife gonna dull. Yeah, some gonna stick. We're gonna keep throwing stuff at the wall until it sticks, period. That's because it's absolutely important that they get this information. And then after that, we also have to make sure that we are accountable for putting out quality things like this podcast, like the lecture series, like the fireworks and the festival. We listen to our community, we take in a constructive criticism, and we try to accommodate as best as possible so that we get more participation, more people who are open to connecting with us. So we're so diverse, and having these amazing individuals as a part of it, we all bring different perspectives. We all have ideas of how to bring others to the table. And we are very mindful of not allowing people to disrespect or come in and clown our history. This is a serious matter for us because we've been doing this a long time. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. And it takes a lot of cooperation, a lot of hard days, a lot of emotions, like she said, just a lot of everything. It takes a lot of energy to put this on, but we do it in love. We do it as a family, and we make sure that at the end of the day, what we're putting out there is a quality product that you can't deny.
Right.
Period.
And to add just to land, because we are a group of educated people, we realize that when there's problems or pain points that arise, we come with solutions. So this time around, after we're done and we take our break and we reorganize, when we start planning, we've realized that we need to do some listening tours, right? So we need to go around to different communities and explain to them. So what we've started putting together in our database, what we call the New Bern resource hub for Juneteenth, we've created pastoral toolkits. We've created student toolkits. We've created teacher toolkits and different toolkits to bring in the message. So like with the pastoral toolkit, I was able to locate biblical references that can relate to what Juneteenth is. So then when we do our Sunday service, we send this out to all pastors so you have something as a basis to go from to bring in Juneteenth, right? So it's like if we can find something for each group of people where it can relate to them, it's going to land the point. And we've learned that in our meetings that, okay, let's do some more education, because there's a lot of people, white people come to us like, oh, I don't go because I thought this was a white event. That's offensive.
A Black woman,
right?
Yeah.
Because, Juneteenth is unity. Unity is not unity for Black people, it's unity for all. That's how we come. So, I love the fact that, as a team, as a group, we're able to just, see where we need to rearrange some things and solve that problem. So moving forward, we're not missing a step. Oh, you don't know what Juneteenth is? Here's a pamphlet. Here's this. Oh, you're a student. You're this. You're that.
Oh, you hot?
Right. You got a fan.
Right. We got education everywhere.
Right. We want to oversaturate the education of Juneteenth. For real.
And answer everybody's so what factor. What does Juneteenth have to do with me? Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And then we go into it. But as much as we can educate folks, we know that we send more educated people out into the world, like from New Bern, and they go visit their families and they talk about it. We can send more educated folks and ambassadors for Juneteenth so that when people ask the questions like you asked. Why is Juneteenth important? We have more people from our community, especially here in Eastern North Carolina, who can answer that question for folks. Because there's a lot of folks out there don't know what Juneteenth is. So as we continue to educate, we're sending educators out into the community to answer those types of questions for people.
Right.
So we ain't got to do all this heavy lifting.
Right.
Right. Because that is a lot of work, but you know, it's needed. And like you said, people being open to the knowledge and receiving the information as well as implementing the information in their daily lives. And not just one day or, you know, for a month or so. So I really respect that. Anybody else has anything to add in before we move on to the next question?
Educate, educate, educate. They need it.
You will.
I love it. So our next question would be, I'm pretty sure during this journey, because this is 6 years in, correct? So during this journey, I'm pretty sure you had a lot of ups and downs and, you know, a lot of trials and tribulations getting this together. So for someone else that is in a rural area and would like to do this for their community, what advice would you give them?
I would say don't reinvent the wheel in some sense. Like, you're going to have to create wheels of your own when it comes to this. But if there are things already happening in your community, if there are cultural celebrations, don't start from the ground. Find something that you can attach to or you can complement. Find other like-minded individuals in your community so you don't have to do all the heavy lifting yourself. Like, that's where I would tell people to start. If you got a John Canoe, like, you know, like we have here, or you have a cultural celebration or a Black History Parade, find your tribe of people who can appreciate that cultural education and then see if they're willing to help you expand that. Because the worst thing that we deal with, and I talked about this before with y'all, is that parallel fight that we have. We have an internal struggle amongst Black people who we're dealing with that every day. Inside the house, we dealing with our issues, our colorism, our, you know, our socioeconomic issue. I don't like this. I don't like her. I don't like this. All of that we have to deal with amongst each other and figure that out. We got to do the work to figure that part out. But at the same time, we are fighting all these other things, these external forces outside that we have to deal with. So find individuals who are going to help you relay the message and also bring other diverse perspectives in, but also that will complement each other and that, you know, again, will help you as a team, because we really fight with capacity too. We have a lack of resources in our community. And but we understand if we all put it together, if we put together everything that we have everything that we need. It's just a matter of figuring out what goes on the plate. And that's it. So, in getting out of the way of our own internal issues to make it happen so that those outside of internal issues can see that you're a unified front. Because I think, again, that lends to being able to show a good product and that good seed on fertile ground. So if there's someone in rural America that is trying to do what we did, I would say get busy figuring out how to connect. And don't worry about putting your name on everything. It don't have to be. As long as you can connect with somebody to get what you need, who cares? Honestly, who cares? But we got to get over our own socioeconomic issues in order to be able to connect and to grow with each other, because you can't do it by yourself. And that's the biggest thing, is realize, like she said, it's a village. It takes a village. There are going to be some days you're going to be burnt out. Don't give up. If God put it in your heart, do it. If you're supposed to be a vessel, do it.
That's right.
But also be mindful of what you're bringing to the table, your mental health, and the things that you want to do and the goals that you want to accomplish. Be very clear about what it is that you're trying to do, so that when somebody asks you about your vision, you have a clear answer to give them. Because if you don't really know what you want to do, ain't nobody else gonna know what you want to do. So that's the biggest thing, is create a mission and a vision, know what you're going after, and find other like-minded individuals to carry it out. And you will see that many hands do make light work.
That's the sweet version. The sour version is everybody plays their part, and it's about networking. So we always make a joke, me and Talina, we know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
We're that guy.
Yeah, right. So you have to network, and you have to be in rooms in places you don't want to be, because at the end of the day, you got to get those resources. But there are certain people that should be in that room. Everybody can't get in that room. So at a time, I sat on the board of aldermen to be able to, where we make policies and stuff. So I knew my part. I knew that Talina, Jesse, and Sharon were going to come to the forefront. They're going to do their proposals. And I got to be in the back like, no, y'all got to pass this. We got to get this passed. We got to get it passed. We got to get this money. I know law that I needed to recuse myself in any way. But while they're working on the outside, I was working on the inside to make sure that I had the votes for certain things before I would step away from it, so that I know that we were solidified. Not until a year off of being the board did we finally get it to be a city sponsored event, and getting it to be excuses. They didn't want to give us a holiday. It's a floating holiday, but it's supposed to acknowledge Juneteenth. So even when you get a little bit of crumb, we want the whole cookie. So I just think it's about, networking. You definitely have to network, and you have to nurture those relationships. And like I say, I think all nonprofits, especially like we're a small nonprofit, right? But we want bigger. You need to operate in zero, because if you're operating with money in the bank, then that means you're not nurturing those relationships. At the end of the year, I want to be close to zero or just operational expenses, so that when I come in next year, I'm going to the same people that gave me money. I'm making sure I get my thank yous in, somebody showing up somewhere. So there's a face, because we want to keep getting your money. We want it to be more and more and more as the time goes on. But if you don't nurture those relationships and bend, sometimes you're not going to get what you need. And sometimes those are relationships with people that are our allies, or people that, that don't look like us. They got to be they're invited to sit at the kiddie table. And that's no disrespect, because we need your support, but we got the work. We going to do the work. We just, let me get your money, and we going to do what we need to do.
Not you invited to the cookout, but bring the cups.
Right, exactly. Right. Bring the ice. That's really what it is. You invited to the cookout,
bring the forks and
bring the
knives
ice,
if you want
so
to.
that the food stuff and the drinks is good and everything, because it's owed. You know what I'm saying? That's our reparations. When people donate and are a part of this that don't look like us, as I said, I'm the ignorant one. That's reparations. You know what I'm saying? Your money is allowing us to teach a community what Juneteenth is. Thank you. We appreciate you. You know what I mean? That to me is important too. It's like build those relationships. It's politics. You got to get in politics if you want it to grow to, a bigger part of just, getting together in your city. You know what I mean?
And be a good steward of your money. That, I think that's one key point taken away from what she said. Nonprofits are supposed to have enough for their operational expenses, obviously, but we're taking a lot of that money and we're putting everything outside of operational expenses, we putting back into Juneteenth and festival and marketing and and businesses, supporting businesses, and trying to get as many of our local and small entrepreneurs as possible to be able to come be a part of it, but also make it make sense for them to be a part of it outside of just, I like Juneteenth and I want to be here. But again, there are some goals that we have, which are expanding and furthering people's knowledge, family, business, community. And we do all of that by being able to support each other. So I say the best way that you can do that and gain people's trust and nurture those relationships, be a good steward of people's money. Yep. If they give you something, make sure you can show what you did with it. Make sure the product that you're producing shows what you did with these people's money, and make sure if asked, you can show them this is exactly what I did with your money, because then they will come back and they will continue to come back. But if you're not a good steward and they don't know where that money went, or you put on a half a event, but they see you with the nice car and the rims and everything else, they'll be like,
Well, Black organizations get scrutinized way more than white organizations, especially when it's education.
And that's why I say it,
But
because
see,
we got
that's
so
what
many
I
eyes on
always
us.
say too. Now, you want to come and see what I'm doing with your money. You need to come and be a part of it.
Mhm.
Then you know what I'm doing with your money.
Mhm.
And therefore, you can go out and you can start telling other people what we're doing with the money, how we're doing it. Now, again, like you said, bittersweet, we do have some arguments that we have to take care of among ourselves so that when we go
Right.
out, we're straight. So that when we want to bring somebody in as well to show them what we're doing, or a rural area that's just getting started, they got to know that you got to get in these trenches and you got to dig deep to get something done if you want it done right. So you got to take the bitter with the sweet. And however, no matter what somebody said, this is not personally for me. It's about my community and the people that I'm trying to serve.
And she makes a good point to say too, that in this, right, you need to have a succession plan, correct?
Yeah.
In regards to once, we need to bring other people in, right? We're not spring chickens. We need to mentor the next individuals. I'm not a spring
You
chicken,
might not be.
okay? We need to bring in, the younger people that are going to, we got to light their torch, right? So, and I learned that was another saying. We usually say, let's pass the torch, but if I give you the torch, I don't got no light. I'm not giving you all my light. I'm gonna light yours because you still want to need me, right? And I'm gonna need them just in case my light go out. You got to relight me, but you do have to have a plan in place for educating other people to come in and do the work. You know what I mean? Because who wants to wake up? You do a 9 to 5, and then you come out here and you give your time for free, right? Not everybody wakes up and has that thought process that they want to do things, bigger than just what they are. Are they looking for some dollar amounts? Now we're gonna be realistic. You know what I'm saying? We work. It's volunteer work. This is free work. Y'all hear me?
No, it's not work.
Free work.
No, it's not work. It's free labor.
Okay, free labor, right? Because I do enjoy it, but it's free labor. Do you hear me? Anybody paying attention? It's free.
And when you run out of energy, passion is all you
Yes.
got left.
Right.
And the people beside you.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's important to know. Like, if you want to get up here and do these things, find a team and make it work. It's not always going to be perfect, but get it done if the main mission is to educate the people. But know your limits, right? You got to know your limits, and you got to know when it's time to step away from different things. But that's why you bring other people in to, be educated and do the education as well.
Succession.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize you're not going to be here forever.
Standing operating procedures.
You have to create, right. You have to create a blueprint that other people can follow. And you have to keep that in mind when you're doing this work, is that it doesn't necessarily belong to you, unless you started it, of course, but it don't necessarily belong to you. When you're doing this nonprofit work, you try to make decisions that are best for the greater good and not just yourself or your friends, because we can't always work with our friends and family. I know I wouldn't want my mama on this board because she ain't got no customer service. So I know, there are certain people that I love them, but we can't work together. It's okay. This ain't for you, but everybody has something to lend. Everybody has something to lend. And even her constructive criticism, we might need her at one point in time to tell these vendors that ain't signed up, hey, you gotta go.
Right.
Who is a Native American who was born in 1946, so the struggle was real. So now if my mother come up here, we might not have a Juneteenth.
Wow, it's a whole bunch of it's a whole bunch of darks going on. I don't got nothing to do with what they said. I love y'all both. I don't got nothing to do with it. That's funny to me.
But our parents keep it real. I mean, that it is. Because if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, I'm gonna tell you. My mother gonna tell you. Out of 20 children, she gonna tell you, you ain't doing it right. Do it this way. And if it's not done, she's gonna come back and tell you, now go back and do it again. Because that's the way we were taught. So now to put it out there to the community, you need to be a part of this. And this is how it needs to happen. And this is how we're going to get it done. Because if I'm baking a pie or a cake, there's ingredients we got to use to make it right. So if you don't use something for that cake, it's not going to work.
Look at you with the metaphors. But also though, if you want the Juneteenth of New Bern game plan, we accept donations and we can consult you because we need money, right? I'm
Other
a
cities,
salesperson.
yep.
So in the and so I'm joking, but I really want to give this talking point, right? The work that we do is a skill set. Some of us are born with it, some of us are taught. The four that sit here, we're born with these skill sets. And at the same time, okay, I have to feed my family, right? So we have to start looking at certain things that we do. We're successful with this. We went from 1 day to 13. That's the data. We can go and tell you how many people, what you got to do with the city. Now, again, I'm joking. We give it to free, but there's a business idea out of this, right? Like I'll consult you on how you can go, and it don't even have to be Juneteenth, or how you can pull something together in your community based on this. But you're gonna have to pay me because I had to do the labor. I had to do the work. I had to argue. I had to fight. I had to get hurt. I had to lose sleep. I had to get black eyes. I can't give it out for free. I can give you tips.
Now.
Right. I can give you tips, but I can't give you the full plan because you got to be invested in it. Right. So I take it like that. You know, I'm joking, but I'm not joking at the same time because we as Black people, we get in a way where, oh, we got to ask for some money. Oh, we can't ask for no money. But when you look at other nonprofits, all their board members be set up, right? American Red Cross. They EDs is getting millions of dollars to make decisions at the board, but you ain't out there doing none of the work, right? We don't think in that mindset. Our mindset is, okay, we'll go do the work, but donate to us because that money doesn't go to us. It goes to the community. So that's how we operate. We still operate of, yeah, we working, but if you're going to give money to Juneteenth or give money to our other organization because that's less money we got to personally put in to the mission.
And i.e., again, if you don't believe what she's saying, last year there was an RFP out. Anybody that does government contracting, y'all know there was an RFP placed out for the city of Asheville to do their Juneteenth festival. And we looked at that and we saw that. So we know for a fact that there is there's a lot of organization and thought behind Juneteenth, and there are a lot of people capitalizing off of Juneteenth. We have a lot of experience doing this. So we are more than happy to help people learn and understand what it takes. But we are even more happier if any of these cities out here want to see our successful 13 days and they want to reach out to us, to New Bern and any of, our affiliates and say, hey, how do we do what y'all do? Or we want to pay y'all to help us do, what y'all do. And that, again, that helps us with the progression of Juneteenth here in New Bern because we have set the standard for a lot of folks in Eastern North Carolina and the state of North Carolina to where they look at us for details, for advice. And that's our local community and everybody else. So there's some money in it. We just haven't, we're not at that phase where we are trying to make buku tons of money. We just want people to get educated. That's really what it's about. Nobody here is rich as far as rich off of what we are doing. It's rich in experience, rich in love, and rich in being able to connect with people like y'all.
With red and white blood cells to keep going.
And like you said, we don't even have a building and anything like that. We're in like somebody's kitchen, operating, doing a meeting and what have you. But this is where the passionate come in. When you're passionate about something, you're going to make it happen no matter what. And those of you out there that want, or, somebody to help you set it up, we're passionate about what we're doing. So we'll be more than glad to come and help you.
I want the check, okay?
Like
$2, $3, something. Hey. You feel me? Okay, I got to get a request.
I walk into the mailbox with my cane.
Listen, they not getting a dime from me, right? Education should be free, but that's a whole nother podcast, okay?
Right. We could talk about that another time. Right. Look, and let me tell you something. We are happy to be talking to you guys because we just recently started our nonprofit. We started this, just as a podcast off of a vision that my wife had. And We saw everything come into fruition. We, strive to work with different people. Some of it worked out, some of it, actually it didn't. Out of 80 people that we connected with, we literally only deal with 3 of them right now. Let that sink in,
That's
okay?
all you're supposed to deal with then. God cleared the way.
You feel me? But we tried to, as what we were doing, try to make it more like a network and connect with people, not just interview people, but have people, do little parts and just get in where you fit in. And we learned the hard way, but it is what it is. So we're taking everything that we're learning from you guys today, and we can implement it.
Oh, you learning something for us? Yeah, when we get off, I'm gonna need a donation. Another donation.
We donate. We
You
donate.
already donated.
I love that. I appreciate that you all are doing that. And I'll say this, like, you're sitting on the Zoom with people. This ain't our first rodeo when it comes to nonprofits. It ain't our first rodeo when it comes to movements in the city. Everybody is not going to be on the train, right? Everybody's gonna, once you at the station, first of all, we building the train, right? We got the old Dusty. We got to bring it together. The old Dusty. We got to bring it together. Got to put the oil and get everything together. Folks want to come when they see the conductor getting ready to open the doors, right? They want to come at that point. We don't need you then. We need you to help us get to be able to walk on there.
Right.
And so the 80 people that you got and only 3 talked to, the rest of them won't for you. It wasn't supposed to get what you had to offer them. But I will say this, on multiple occasions, depending on where this is going to be dropped out, I'm gonna shout out New Bern. On multiple occasions, we have sowed some seeds.
Go ahead, preacher.
Of you put it out there, and some people don't support, but then the same seed, I don't know how they did it. They was able to duplicate that seed, but it wasn't watering on their side, right? That seed was only meant for us to water. So we deal with that a lot of people try to duplicate the things that we do to kind of bypass instead of coming to us and letting us, we're going to show you. I joke about it. You come and sit with us, we'll give you all the gems for free. We just want you to understand the value of what you're getting. We all work 9 to 5s. We all have businesses we run. We got kids and everybody to fend through. It takes time. My time is now a value. And you can't tell me what I charge based on my time, especially if we give you the information and you ain't doing nothing with it. That's the time I don't like, is if you're going to soak it up, do it. But don't waste my time just to be wasting my time. You understand what I'm saying? So, and that's definitely a collective, I'm sure, for all of us, because, people die left and right. People got illnesses. We got things that's going on in families, personal and things of that. Like, this time is precious. We're doing this for the people. We know what Juneteenth is. Jesse knows what Juneteenth is now, you know what I'm saying, to his liking. Now it's, peer review. We're out here trying to get other people. But if we don't ever do this again, we know what Juneteenth is. We're educated enough to know 4th of July won't for us, but we don't want it to just stop there. You understand? We want it to keep going. And so, that's kind of where we're at with it, I guess, holistically, is we'll give everybody the information. We're here to help, but be serious about it. Don't play with people's time, because time is valuable and mine's expensive.
That's true.
Look, listen. And I'm glad you said what you did, because it kind of lays ground for the next question. And we didn't hear too much from Jesse, so especially now that finding out that you're really just learning, about it. What are you looking for? And this is for everybody, but I know this isn't, new to y'all been doing this, but what are you looking forward to this year with experiencing in the Juneteenth celebration?
The continued breaking down of the walls. Like, Talina, she was holding back on some of the stuff that she was talking about, but I'll go ahead and be candid.
Go ahead.
We tried to do a car show last year. They put me in charge of doing the car show. I utilized all my contacts to try to make that happen. Only 3 cars showed up for a whole car show. I posted in multiple car show communities on social media. The feedback that I got afterwards was they felt like it was a Black event and that they felt like they weren't welcome. So we understand that most of the people that will have the beautiful cars, classic cars, hot rods, they're going to be of an older community and more than likely will be white. So we already knew what a car show that would be the demographic that would participate the most. And to try to break down the barriers and the walls, that was a target audience that we were trying to capture. But there was already a mindset that was in place that they didn't want to participate because of what they thought.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking for, to see the mindset be changed and to see education continue to move forward. So just as in the past few years, I'm learning about Juneteenth, other people will be learning about Juneteenth, and not only just Black people, white people as well, Mexicans as well, Asians as well. We begin to understand that American history runs so much deeper than the surface level that we've been taught.
And can I connect something that y'all talked about with Jesse, just to give you a point of interest? Y'all talked about, when I spoke to y'all last time and we were setting all this up, that initially y'all were wanting to do a Back to Africa trip. And that is absolutely something that is on our list as the next progression of Juneteenth. You know, with our 13 days or however many more it's going to be in the future, how wonderful would it be to add a trip to Africa to that celebration? And, you know, a Sankofa trip, you know, reaching back, however we want to do that. But another one of the beautiful things, you know, I'm coming to you. One of the beautiful things about the diversity of these people that are sitting here and that have been sitting here from the beginning. Again, we were planning things in lawn chairs, and from inception, is that Jesse is our resident expert, along with Miss Sharon, who neglected to tell y'all that she was the African American outreach coordinator for Tryon Palace before she retired so gracefully and respectfully. Yes. And she has put together trips to Africa, historical trips. And again, it's really good to have people that not only have the experience to be able to put something like that together on this board, especially under Juneteenth, but that also, you know how when y'all go places, y'all be like, yeah, the tourist stuff is nice, but can I have a local tell me where y'all really go? We actually have, so we don't talk about it, we be about it, because we actually have people here who are able, who have done it and can do it. Jesse, are you dual citizen?
Yeah.
Jesse is a dual citizen in Africa. What country? It's not a whole continent, but
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. Right. So again, to have that amount of knowledge and experience on our committee and within our coalition, you couldn't ask for none better. I mean, Juneteenth with the people that got citizenship in Africa, that been to Africa, that have taught, their historians, that have seen it growing up, where they have been. I feel like you couldn't have paid to put this type of group together. It organically came together, and everybody having their own experience lends to the richness and the depth of our program and why it has been so successful. I mean, honestly, there are not a lot of people that you're going to find this mixture, this recipe with.
I was going to be ignorant and say something.
It's always the light-skinned one.
Come on. We knew you were going to give us something. Come on.
So, Sis Talina called me. Yes. I worked for Tryon Palace for the last 25 years. 40. And plus. Yeah. And again, it was considered as colonial, and it was about the white people. Since I started working there, I wanted to make sure that we educate the community, our people, about different things that happen. So we were able to pull a trip to go to Africa, West Ghana, for 10 days. And I truly enjoyed my trip there. And when I found out that Jesse had some tie to Africa, I was like, man, we need to go back. That's where we supposed to have came from. So we need to go back to our roots, bring them back and educate people. And the trip that they had planned, they was like, you can't go in these people's houses. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm nosy. I went in there, how lives, and I wanted to find out things about them, you know, how much it costs over there compared to the United States. A lot of them want to come to the United States because they think we're rich. And I want to say, we're just as poor as y'all. But we had to learn that information. You know, you have to get to talk to these people, learn their culture as well, so that we can come back and bring it and incorporate it in what we were doing. So yeah, I had a pleasure for 25 years plus to work there to educate the communities and others, as well as visitors that came there. But these group of people that I'm working with, I applaud them for coming in, because Talina's not from here. She's from Buffalo, New York. As Jameesha says, she was from Albany, and Jesse is from Louisiana. I'm a North Carolina native. But I always tell them, if you got a house here, you pay taxes here, y'all can leave that New York and Buffalo and Louisiana. You are now a North Carolinian, and so you come.
That's right, baby.
So now you're gonna come in and you're gonna help me to educate this community, and so that's the beauty of it.
They want to.
Absolutely. And then also another thing, I feel like Jesse brings some invaluable. Y'all see, Jesse is like he levels us out. The energy, he is very strong but silent type. But he told me an awe-inspiring story about his trip to Africa that I feel like people who are here and learning about Juneteenth, they need to hear these stories. They need to know why it's important to go back. So if I could bother you, Jesse, for just one more time, that story about you going to the village when you were there and visiting the warrior, going into the warriors, seeing how they were buried and stuff like that. That is something that I think is important to our history. So will you tell them about that?
Yeah, just to give a little backstory. Once again, Pan-Africans all the way. And
Is that what that symbolizes?
Yes,
okay, I would say let them know that.
The Pan-African movement.
Okay, so that. So it's not universal to Black power.
No, it is. Well, you know, as Black Americans, we've taken it and we continue to.
But it originated from Pan-African?
Well, the Marcus Garvey movement, that was part of what they did.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
My bad. We just had a little history lesson.
I went to Ghana in 2019. My wife and I went to Ghana in 2019. Went to another small West African country called the Gambia in 2020, and then went to Sierra Leone in 2022. 2020, Sierra Leone is where I ended up tracing my lineage back to. And actually the country of Sierra Leone has a Negroid clause in their constitution stating that anybody that is not of African ancestry cannot be a citizen. So the Lebanese, the Chinese, and the Indians have been living in Sierra Leone for the past 200 years. But because of the Negro clause, they can't become naturalized citizens of Sierra Leone. But they extended that invitation to diasporans all around the world who can trace back their lineage to Sierra Leone to become citizens. So that's how I was able to gain my dual citizenship in Sierra Leone. Okay. I spent a month in Sierra Leone trying to establish everything to get my family moved there, kind of on a semi-permanent basis. While I was there, linked up with some other African Americans that had been living in Sierra Leone for decades. And they took us a bunch of different places. One of those places was a village called Jamakoa. It's 2.5 hours away from the capital, which is Freetown. And it's pretty much out just in the middle of nowhere. But when you talk about something so beautiful, man, it blows you away. It's a 45-minute ride off the main road to the village. So 45 minutes of that 2.5-hour drive was driving down a dirt road, getting the African massage. And so we get to the village. Now this ethnic group of people are called the Mende people. So they are the Mende tribe, and once again the area is called Jamacoa. When you get there and you walk through the village, when it rains, you can see gold, you can see bauxite, you can see iron that washes that the rain washes the dirt away, and you're able to see that coming out of the ground.
Wow.
That's how bauxite is something that it's an alloy that's used to create aluminum. So aluminum is something that's used in everyday use here in America, but we don't realize the resources that are taken from other places to give us the life that we live. Right. The Mende people walk on this every day. They walk on the dirt that produces bauxite. They walk on the dirt that produces gold. And it means very little to them because it's something that they see every day.
Let's say allegedly, so colonizers don't go and take a trip and start getting the gold,
which is being done.
Dang.
So, and then we went through the ceremonial. The next day after we got to the village, we went through the ceremonial practices of welcoming Africans back home. Mm-hmm. So there was a hut that was in the middle of the town courtyard, and the ancestors of that particular village were buried in that hut. They have a whole streamlined way of doing their ceremonial practices. They can only be done on certain days and certain ways. So that day just so happened to be a particular day that they allowed us to go in and do a ceremonial welcoming. So we went inside the hut, we kneeled down, they took some alcohol, some spirits, and they poured it down into the ground, mixed the mud, and then they put the mud on our head and on our chest. And this was our acknowledgement to welcome us back home. So the opportunity to be a part of something like that it just gave me goosebumps. And when you hear all the time they say Africans don't like us, continental Africans don't like us. Continental Africans, they feel some kind of way towards diaspora Africans. That's not true. They, how many times, even when I was in the Gambia, they said, come back. We want you guys to come back home. We want you to come. We want you to invest. We want you to marry. They want us to come back. So that's what's been a part of my mission. A part of my mission is to get back home. Every Black person that's on the face of this earth has to take a trip to Africa. Even if you don't stay, that may not be the goal for everyone, but to go, it just gives you such a different way of looking at life once you come back to the West. The stress that we endure when we're in the West is a stress that doesn't exist in those monochronic countries. The things that we worry about in the West, those aren't particular things that they worry about in those monochronic countries. Life is life, and they enjoy it as it is. They enjoy it as life. So we got to get back.
Yes.
That takes me to when we went to Africa too, Justin. We went to the Elmina Castle. Mm-hmm. And when we went through the council, they were explaining to us how the slaves was in there, mm-hmm. and how, if the person that was in charge, like a particular slave, mm-hmm. they would point at that person, wash them, fix their teeth or whatever. So when they come out, they're beautiful. Mm-hmm. But going through that castle to the door of no return, that's where it gets you. And I don't think it was a dry eye when we came out of that castle by standing in that door, knowing that once you went through, you couldn't return back. And I think then we had a couple of white people to join us on that trip. I don't know who cried the hardest, them or us, because this was a lesson that we were learning to tell us about our culture, how the Atlantic. So before I went down to the Atlantic beach to look at that and think about it. So when I went over to Africa, I would see the Atlantic coast where these ships was coming in and taking people out and they couldn't return. So that was a downfall for me, to thank God that I was able to go to Africa and get to connect with some of the ancestors over there.
So I definitely I definitely want to go back. I know, like for me, what I've started doing is my uncle passed away years ago, and he was carrying on the tree. So if you can't tell, I'm mixed. So my daddy's side, I wanted to start doing the history, right? So I was able to go, I use ancestry.com, but I know me and Jesse talked in the past that there's more, one that's based on African descent. The issue is that they don't have it for the patriarch, which would be my father, because my blackness comes from him. It's based on the mom. My mom's white and she's gone. So I use Ancestry. I might try and do some research to look for more, but my history, the black is Guyanese. And I was able to go onto these and see documents of my ancestors being labeled as slaves, right? So my ancestors who were slaves, their time of slavery was in Tennessee. So like Jesse, I think it's important for everybody that wants to be enlightened, or what we say woke. You need to go back to the foundation of who you are, because once I'm done conquering the black side of me, I'm obligated to understand the white side of me and where that history is, just so that it's no disrespect to my mom. Although I relate more to my blackness, and it's much more powerful to me because of the history and the struggle, and just to know the opposite. I'm fighting myself in the mirror. I'm mad at them, and I'm, what I mean? So it's a struggle. I think it's important for people to know who they are, and doing that history is important. So I don't want to go back, or go to the motherland. Well, it is true, go back. Until I really know everything that I need to know of who I am in that aspect. But I'm anxious because I just want to experience it, because it's something powerful to just know where your families comes from, where your say it for me. Yeah, I got it. So where you've come from, it's important. So you got to take that time. Just don't take no trip to Africa because you want to go, like how we go and get students on, we going to DR, we going to Jamaica. Like that's something different. Like do the work before you go. Like once you've done the work, that's the trip that you earn. You earn that trip because he worked and found that information, and then he went above and beyond to lay roots where he's from by doing the dual citizenship. I want to be like him when I grow up. Because if it get crazy, I need a plan B. You feel me?
And not for nothing else. We owe it. We owe it to right. He got the trip.
Hey.
Hey.
All right. You better stunt.
When you get the authenticity,
you will not only get the homeland attire drip, but you also get Tupac, everything else that's going on around this table. But I think too, to wrap that part of it up, is that I feel like those of us who are free owe it to those of us who couldn't go back to go back. There were people that left that doorway and they wanted to come home. They wanted to be back. They never wanted to leave. So, and they were in bondage. They left in bondage. They were in freedom and walked out that door in bondage. So it's up to us who were born in freedom to travel back for those who couldn't. If not for nothing, one time.
If I can, this is something that I share all the time. I talk to my wife all the time about it. And I said that if your first generation ancestor reached American soul land in 1620, think about how long it took for actual freedom to exist. Think about how many generations exist in 100 years. So you're talking about 4, possibly 5 generations can exist in 100 years. So 1620, your ancestors touched American soil, hoping for one day to be free. They died and it didn't happen. The next generation came, they died, it didn't happen. The next generation came, they died, it didn't happen. Next generation came, they died, it didn't happen. Next generation came, they died, it didn't happen. All the way up to 1865. That is crazy. Think about how many people had to live under the bondage and oppression of what they had to go through, hoping that one day that they would be free, and it never came.
And then they spun the block with Jim Crow. right? So 60
Right.
years, we still want free, right? We out here
Right.
dying to vote, right? So
Yeah.
that's only a tip of it, of why I don't mind when allies cry. When you cry and give me your money because you owe me reparations, you owe my ancestors reparations. Like, cry, get it out. I need you to
Right.
get it out.
Because at the
Not
same
Right.
time,
what you did, and then cut me a check so I can educate my people.
and at the same
There you
time,
go.
they got cousins that's trying to spin the block with Project 2025.
And, oh yeah, there you go. Then they took a UE and went to Project 25, 2025. Right?
Yeah, 2025.
If you watching, it's an election season. You better go and read Project 2025. Okay, we are a nonprofit. We are about voting. We don't care about parties. We care about issues. Make sure you register to vote, but you better read Project 2025. That's all I'm gonna say.
And that's co-signed by the president of our local Craven County branch, NAACP, who specifically sent out an email 2 weeks ago saying, if you don't know what this is, read up on it because it'll make you a better voter.
And that's another thing, listeners, vote. Don't sit back and say my vote don't count, because it does. If you're a felony, you're not on probation, anything. Check this out. You done got out, you done did your time, you done paid whatever you need to pay. You are eligible to vote.
Absolutely.
So you take you and some more federal, somebody else, and you go down there and you vote. Because what we got in the White House right now, he's trying to do the best that he can. But what we had in the White House is trying to destroy. This man is trying to get back in there again. He already done told you what he's going to do. So now, if that's what you want, don't go and vote.
This message has been brought to you by the Political Action Committee of the Craven County branch. Who will be at our festival. Go buy their booth.
Right.
If you can't vote, go register with them at the booth at the festival on June 15th between 12 and 4.
Most of your vote. If it don't go the way you wanted it to, and you didn't vote, I don't want to hear anything about it. Okay.
Or you can come see Jesse and figure out how to get dual citizenship to get back home.
Hey.
To have dual citizenship. Or there are going to be several buses going to Hyde County, and Hyde County is nothing but land and water. You can go back and go in the cotton field and the tobacco field and all that. That's not what I want. Because don't think that won't happen, right? You see this freedom, and let me tell you, this is me being funny. You know they shaking in their boots that 60 years is being celebrated on July 2nd. What a world it would be if it could be 2025 as projected of what they want to do, and then we back in shackles, okay? Then we back picking cotton in the modern day of society because you ain't want to go vote. All right, I don't want to hear nothing because I'm not about to be on the assembly line making your Jordans, okay, or stuffing your tobacco.
Now you know you're gonna be in the house.
You're right. Well,
we joking.
Hold on, I would have been a product of some real stuff that happened. They just disrespect me, but that's all right because now when they want their little biscuit, I was going to give them outside. I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Hey, I'm in trouble.
Right?
Love it. No, yes, just love it.
No, because of her attitude, she gonna be out there in the field.
Shots fired.
Oh, too much.
To my lovely Talina, she'll tell you if you black, go get registered to get your gun license and learn how to shoot.
And teach your kids.
Teach your kid. My baby was 8 years old and she out here.
Right. Her daughter done been out there. My daughter done been out there. We've taken our nonprofit people out there. We have an awesome certified Marine veteran Black instructor who knows his stuff, who's willing to work with you and help you to get your open carry or concealed carry license. But make sure that it's something that you are passing along as well. Black people do shoot. We were cowboys. There's a lot of myths that we've been busting around here, especially when we had the cowboys in our parade. But you know, I don't mind walking around with my gun, you know, just showing people like we
doing this.
Pew, pew, pew.
Right.
We again, that's why we say we like to educate people on all fronts. This is an umbrella. We can do everything that we need to do under this Juneteenth umbrella because it's ours. It belongs to us. It's all of our history. And we can use this platform to springboard a lot of different things that we want to do. So did we answer your question?
I did have one more else to say before we
Yes.
go.
Yes,
I know
and
y'all-
then
y'all
some,
ready for-
and then some, yes. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
the last thing, oh, you had a question or you gonna let me say my thing? I don't want to be rude.
No, you can go ahead.
No, go
Okay.
ahead.
I was gonna say that when we talk about voting, I know sometimes when we have to have these conversations, I've gotten to the point of where I kind of bring it down to like the Constitution, right? Like the Constitution was when it was originally were lies. The Constitution, when it was originally created, the homeboys got together, they weren't thinking about us, right? Not until they realized it wasn't working out for them that they needed to make amendments. That's how we ended up in there, right? And even on those amendments on the Constitution, we still ain't have no rights until 1864. The thing that I want to say the most is that just because these laws are in place, right? And we think that they only apply for white folks. That's because we're ignorant to the benefit of these laws. Pick up a book, use any type of AI, anything you can do to analyze. But just as they protect, well, I'm saying in a manner of don't not do something because you think that you're not covered, right? So don't go and not get your gun license because you don't think that you should have one or you don't have a right to. If they have a right to, you have a right to. If you have a right to, if they have a right to protect themselves, you do too, right? So we also want to operate in the mindset of that, although we do see it play out millions and millions of times, that the laws don't benefit us in the action. They are still laws that are there, and we suffer by, not suffer, but we have to work harder for them to work for us. But they are there. And when you call the root of the problem to order, it's law. You know what I mean? No matter what color you are, it's law. So just know that you have rights as an American, and you need to utilize those rights in all aspects, even more than before, because things are shifting. And if you don't got your seatbelt on, you're gonna go over. And it may not be for the good. And so we just, you need to really, really pay attention to what is going on in this country in a political standpoint, because things are going to change and you're going to wake up and you don't know what's going on. And that's important. So do not think that your vote does not matter. It does. I'm tired of people saying that. It does. It matters to the fact that people died to vote. That's the main reason why you should go. Somebody died for you to have this right. If you don't get that, then give your right to somebody that wants to vote but don't got the right, like that felons that are on probation that can't vote. Pass it on to them because they would like to be able to vote. You understand? So do not take that lightly. That's we're definitely big on voting. Like, please vote, please vote.
All right.
And I yield on my time.
Thank you guys for all of that. Seriously, the passion and the love that you guys show. We love it. We're here for it. You know what I'm saying? And hey, thank you for this interview. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of what you guys are doing. It means a lot to us and to our family. So baby, I'm gonna let you, let's close this thing out.
And shout out to y'all. I'm sorry, just real quick. Y'all are some professionals. I love the fact that when we do interviews and stuff, I told them like y'all have consent forms and waivers and everything else that y'all need to. Y'all send the information on time. Y'all send all the information. Y'all send the questions ahead of time. And I completely understand why y'all were involved in some of the success that y'all have had that we've discussed, even being on the podcast with Boyce Watkins. Y'all have done some amazing things that people don't know about, but we are going to be singing y'all praises. We love y'all interview style. It feels like talking to family. Y'all are we're doing really good, and we hope to continue to work with you guys in the future. Y'all are thebomb.com. Ask your mom.
Hey, thank you so much. we're very humble, but we love that. We thank you so much. Appreciate you.
And
guys.
especially you, bro, because you from New Bern. Shout out to New Bern.
Hey, that's right. That's right.
Because I was about to say, who your people? We'll be back in a little bit.
You know that's what we do, right? You know that's what we do. Hey. All right. Well, we're gonna close this thing out again. Thank you so much, and thank you all for listening and those who are gonna be watching this. I'm gonna let my wife close it out. I love the way she closes things out. Come on,
All right. So all of you listening, we're gonna have all the links to things below, so you can also join the event as well. All the amazing things that they have going on throughout the rest of the days. We already have been posting, so if you've been missing out, I'm gonna need you to check in and lock in and show up and be present.
Yes.
Because this is about all of us. And spend that dough.
Spend that dough. Spend it.
Yes, donate, spread the wealth. That's what that's about, as well as education, is making sure we are generating our dollars and circulating our dollars to our causes. That is for us. So we want to make sure that we are doing that throughout Juneteenth, as well as throughout the whole year and other years, to make sure that we are able to do what we need to do in our communities and, you know, help one another. That's what it's about, togetherness and connections. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and say,
keep striving.
Keep rising, man.
Peace.
No matter how it's going, live a little life. Stack that paper, be faithful to your wife. And if you lock down, Machiavelli, hold your head. If you lock down, Machiavelli, hold your head. The Don Illuminati, all through your body. Watch the word of God blast, 12 gauge shot it. And if you lock down, Machiavelli.